Hello and welcome. My name is Megan Lavin and I'm the owner of the recipe site Allergy Awesomeness. Together with Allergic Living, we discuss topics that affect those living with food allergies. This month's topic, we're going to talk about Sleepaway Camp, Part 2. For those that follow this monthly series, you'll know that my oldest son went on his first sleepaway camp last summer and it went really well. I thought I'd update you on how it went this year, as it wasn't quite as smooth, and how we worked through some of these things, just in case anyone can relate or learn from our experience. Now, for some context, our sleepaway camp is for the boys in our church congregation. Last year, it was a smaller gathering, and this year, our local congregation decided to get together with multiple congregations in the area and do a larger camp. This complicated things because it meant more cooks and more people in the mix that I didn't personally know. Each congregation was in charge of food for one day. So that meant the people who knew my son and had previously cooked for him last year wouldn't always be the ones preparing the meals, right? Thankfully, something that did go right was that the people who ran the camp last year remembered and cared deeply about my son. So when they all got together to plan the meals with these new additional people, I heard they were advocating and telling people about his limitations and things that were going to need some workarounds. The part that was most difficult for me, though, is that I've been asking ahead of time for a list of the meals. I had received a list for his first year, and it spelled out not only what the menu was, but exactly what was going to be in the menu, all the different components. So that way I would know what alternatives I would need to pack him. But this year, only around a week and a half before camp, they handed me a piece of paper that simply said things like tacos, sandwiches, and so forth. I was flabbergasted and was like, where is the rest of the list? When I tried to inquire how I could get the exact brands they were buying, I was met with vague answers and told stories of how everyone is doing their own shopping, so we don't even know how you could access that list. I was trying to come up with solutions like, I'll do the shopping for you, or can I come shopping with you, or if you're ordering the groceries online, can you just give me the receipt afterwards so I can see if there were safe brands that were bought? Here's an example. So my son can have certain brands of chili, but because of his milk allergy, not all of them. So I needed to know whether or not to pack him chili for the night they were doing the chili dogs. But no one could tell me what brand was being picked. I was then told I should just buy whatever I thought my son needed. I explained, well, then I'm probably going to have to buy him everything then. If I don't know if anything is safe, then what is safe? The powers that be said, that's fine, and we'll reimburse you, which I know they thought was an answer. But I was dismayed at thinking of having to buy and pack 4 days worth of meals and snacks. I let them know I don't even have a big enough cooler to fit all this, and they were like, oh, we'll let you borrow some. Seemed like we weren't liking each other's answers, and it just seemed wasteful and unnecessary to me to pack double of everything instead of just seeing what things they were packing to begin with. Exasperated, I went to my husband to complain. He sits in on many of the church meetings where they discuss the camp, and he let me know that he felt comfortable that the meals had been planned around my son's allergens. He even said it was constantly brought up and that all my son would need would be his safe bread for the French toast and sandwiches, safe chocolate, and safe graham crackers for the s'mores, and that everything else should be safe. As a naturally type A person, even before the food allergies, this is hard. I just felt so uneasy to take people's word for it, even if one of those people saying that was my own spouse. Now, remember, my husband has always been an involved food allergy parent. I trust him all the time to cook for my son. I leave for work conferences for days at a time, and I don't fear when I'm gone how my husband will handle it. But this was pushing even my trust for him, because not only do I worry about a reaction up in the woods of Idaho, but I worry about even just my son being hungry because there aren't enough safe things packed. So it's not like, if you don't plan well, you can run to a grocery store when you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no service and no grocery stores for miles. So I hemmed and I hawed about how much food to buy, and in the end, I did as my husband felt comfortable with just the limited items, but I did pack a good amount of snacks. So my husband, like the year prior, takes work off and stays at camp the entire time, so my son has someone watching over him, and my husband helps cook to ensure no cross contact with his allergens. and that does give me a lot of comfort, and I do appreciate the time and effort he takes. Of course, though, I was still nervous while they were gone, but I did try to not model that in front of my son or talk about my frustrations in front of him to make him nervous or to paint a negative picture beforehand. I didn't want him, being nervous while he was there. Boy, was this an exercise in trust. My husband assured me that they had literally copied the menu from the year before, just to ensure my son had all the safe meals from the year prior, and I really did appreciate them being willing to cater to him in that way. But boy, was I nervous not being able to be the one to actually do the double checking. Cross the T's, dot the I's. I couldn't do that this year. Let me just skip you to the end. My son had a great time. He had plenty to eat, and he even came home with unopened extra snacks. I am finding, much to my chagrin, that the older he gets, the less I can control, and I have to trust others with him, and it's harder some days than others. This was one of those hard days. I'm glad that I was able to get out of my own way and still allow my son to go, and my husband and my son could figure it out together. I don't always have to be in the equation, although I'm more comfortable that way. I get some may be watching this thinking that they would have just canceled the trip, and to each their own. However, it's a highlight in the summer for my son, and I'm glad that my nervousness didn't make him miss out on this unique experience, and that's what I had to keep reminding myself of. So here is to all of us allergy parents figuring things out, thinking we have things figured out, or just plain having to trust even when we don't feel ready to. Sometimes I have to repeat my own motto to my own self, which is I can do hard things, and you can too. Be sure to watch my other Allergic Living videos on Allergic Living's YouTube channel or their IGTV channel, where we discuss all sorts of things like birthday parties, 504 plans, sports, and all the other facets of food allergy life. I'll see you next time.